Why do peace and happiness seem so elusive to us? Probably because we have been lied to all of our lives about what peace and happiness is, and we've lied to ourselves about it. We do not know how to live in a peaceful state of existence. Why do we do this to ourselves? Because we have been programmed to. We've been programmed to follow someone else's agenda, someone else's will, someone else's desires. I think we should all be a little bit more like Charlie Brown. The philosopher Charles Schulz has Charlie Brown saying, "My life has no purpose, no direction, no aim, no meaning, yet I am happy. I can't figure it out. What am I doing right?" Well, indeed. We mistakenly come to understand peace as an absence of conflict. It's not just an absence of conflict. And so when we do that, happiness gets replaced with the expectations of others, expectations of education, expectations of society, of success, of power, of living in the right neighborhood, of having model children, of going to the right schools, of everything being bigger and better. We trade peace and happiness for these things. It's a trade-off. Most of these things are good, but when they are replacements for happiness and serenity, they're just weights hanging around our neck, bowing us over for our whole lives. We are told to work hard and to play hard, but we are not taught to be at peace with ourselves, with our God, or with others. Essentially, we are taught to be takers and not givers. At best, big takers and token givers. So we're walking around in a programmed daze, striving to do all and to be all. In this daze, we marry, we have children, we go to work, we have jobs, we raise a family, we plan for retirement, we retire, we die, all in a daze. We're asleep. We've been programmed to think and act in a way that is expected of us. We've been told what to believe, and we haven't strayed very far from it. All of this combined with our experiences through life and our particular reactions to our experiences, these things have guided our training and our programming, and they serve to define our lives. I know that this is hard to face because we never want to hear that we've been on the wrong track. But let's do this. Let us courageously peel back the layers of our perceived reality until we are at the very essence of truth about who we are and how we are. If we owe ourselves anything at all, and we do, then it's the truth. We owe ourselves the truth about life, the truth about ourselves. To face the truth. It's exciting to face the truth. If it's good truth, we find out that there's something that we can do, that we know, that we can, how we can love, how we can help. If we can find something good, that's exciting. But if we see something in ourselves that is it's not so good, it causes us pain and suffering, something that is bad for others and for ourselves too. We can be excited about that too, because now that we know it, we can work around, we can forgive ourselves of it, we can move on past it. We can become, at that point, the person that we want to be. So we fight hard to rationalize these lies we've been told, the things we've been led to believe, and we try to hold on to all that we have. And if we begin to suspect that it's all a sham, and we see through it, one of our tendencies is to rebel against it. And either way, whether we live in it or rebel against it, we are enslaved to it. There's another way. Now throw into this stew all the truth that we are all pretty much self-centered individuals, interested in whatever pleasure that we can pull out of life and avoid whatever pain and suffering is coming our way. Well, that's us. To some degree or other, that's us. And it has been ever since Adam and Eve rebelled against God and shimmied up that tree, and their a paradise garden in search of something more, something more. They had it all, but they wanted something more, and that's us. The story is not about Adam and Eve, it's about you and I. When the first humans had it all, they didn't know it. They wanted something more. Well, that's human nature. We may believe ourselves to be independent now and to be our own person, pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps, to be different from our parents and teachers, but we're not. I like what the hip philosopher Jimmy Buffett says in one of his songs. We are the people our parents warned us about. Why? Because that's what our parents actually programmed us to be them. Maybe not by their words, but certainly by their actions. Hello? No, we're not taught to be independent, our own person. We're taught to be our parents. If you were born into a middle-class family, you have middle-class values and middle-class morals and middle-class ethics. For that period of time that you live in, and for that part of the world, with that part of the county, among people of a similar heritage, if you were born into wealth, you have the same problems. You think differently, but you're still brought up to be who society has created you to be. We can make minor changes in our thinking. I've tried to do that my whole life. My education, I pursued education. We can increase our income level. We can change some of the categories that people want to put us in, but we're going to come out pretty much the same as our parents and our teachers. If we were born Protestant Christian, we're probably always going to be Protestant Christian. If you're born Catholic, same thing. Muslim, same thing. Whatever the religion or the philosophy of thinking that your parents had, that's probably what yours is going to be. At least start out. Even if we convert, that is, change from one set of programming to another set of programming, we pretty much bring most of our former thinking with us. It's hard to change. Few people actually accomplish change. We have been fairly successfully programmed. One of the things that helps us is education. G.K. Chesterton said a long time ago, without education, we are in a horrible and deadly danger of taking educated people seriously. I love that saying. Without education, we are in a horrible and deadly danger of taking educated people seriously. There's a lot of truth in that. But having said that, let me say this. Schools, institutions of higher learning, these can be very often more indoctrination centers than places where we learn to think and evaluate things for ourselves. They teach us the basics that we need, and yes, we need them. The essentials that we need to be successful according to their view of success. And we cannot do without these things. We have to have them, but they do not inspire us. For instance, our creativity. Children, from day one, their creativity is squelched. They are taught that they must color within the lines, that they must color the apple red, that this is the way it's got to be. These are the rules. And they squash that creativity. Now, I understand there are probably motor skills that are being developed. I don't know all of that, but I'm telling you that we are not encouraged to be creative. Take history, for instance. The version of history that we are taught is favorable to the country in which we live. And the prejudices of the historians and the prejudices even of those who are teaching it to us are going to color history in a particular way that is not just raw fact. And in a sense, it's politicized indoctrination. Still, it can be a start. As a matter of fact, it is a start. Don't take your education too seriously. Take it, but question it all. We cannot believe our leaders either. Getting a politician to tell you the truth is about as likely is getting the devil to go to church with you on Sunday morning. Politicians have about 3 layers of agendas that are below what they're actually trying to say that they're going to do. People think one thing while they do something else. I was interested in magic, sleight of hand, when I was a younger man, and I could do magic, and I understood some of the principles of it. One of the primary principles of sleight of hand is misdirection. You're going to have the people to focus upon what you're doing with this hand, while they can't even see the other hand. They can't even see that. What are you doing with that one? And then all of a sudden, presto, magic happens. Misdirection. Get them to focus on one thing while you're doing something else. No wonder we are such a sick society. Politicians continue with their magic to lull us to sleep so that things will go their way. And so, the sleep goes on. TV news programs do not give us the facts. They color the facts in for us, and they give us a tainted commentary. Even if it's just the way they present an event, that's colored. Even if it's just what they choose to announce in their news program, that's putting our emphasis on what they want us to put our emphasis on. The national news is dominated by meaningless tripe of some political persuasion or another. No station will report, for instance, that while we slept last night, over 500 people died of malaria, over 1 per minute. You also won't hear that it's presentable. What's dominating the news on this particular day that I'm speaking to you is the government trying to get rid of U.S. aid. Amazing. That addresses the U.S. aid that addresses these very issues. Let's just focus on ourselves. You don't hear about this stuff on the news because they don't want to have to focus on that. These are invisible people. Not one of the people that I mentioned suffering from these things is the child of a politician or a movie star or rock star or sports star. They're not even from first world country. And so the sleep goes on. We're lulled back into sleep. We continue to allow ourselves to be programmed because we don't want to deal with the truth. We don't. We don't want to have to work to find it. We don't want to have to dig below it. We don't want to have to upset people around us who think differently, who have accepted the lies. We would rather be insulated from it all to focus on our own indulgences, our own successes, our own agendas. Even churches and temples and synagogues and mosques, they manipulate their constituents to see the truth as they perceive it. Not just manipulate it, but actually demand it. They will have classes and teach you what to believe and tell you how to believe it. It's all indoctrination, it's all programming. They are not interested in the truth. If you bring something up that they may call into question one of their principles, oh, my goodness, don't do that. They're not interested in the truth because they feel like they already have all of the truth. They don't want you to learn the truth because if you learn something a little bit different than what they're teaching you, they can't control you. Galileo, for instance, was brought before a Roman Inquisition of the Christian Church, and he was found guilty of heresy because he said that the earth moved around the sun, and this is a fact that we take for granted today. The church justified their condemnation and sentencing of Galileo based upon biblical passages which stated that the earth was set on foundations that could not be moved. Well, one of the worst things Christianity has ever done was to declare that the Bible is infallible, because that's when we started beating people up with it. The 19th century Christian pro-slavery advocates used their flavor of biblical interpretation to show that slavery was condoned and even encouraged by God in the Bible. Good grief. Today's Christian inquisitors are headhunting for clergy who would have compassion for those who are homosexual. I've been the subject of this hunt and attack. I'm sure that in their own flavor of biblical interpretation, they can justify their point. But as the church has proven in the past, just because they can justify their point doesn't mean they're right, and it doesn't mean it's the truth. Since most of us are not gay, but we are human, and humanity seeks really as a default to connect with people who are like them. We want to be with people who are like us. Socioeconomic groups, political parties, religious denominations. And so people have a tendency to jump on the bandwagon of inquisition and condemn a group of people simply because they are who they are. Truth be damned. We're going to be faithful to our programming, and thus, folks, the sleep goes on. What really muddles this whole thing up, sadly enough, is that people want to be programmed. Now, you're going to reject against that probably, but no, it's true. That's really, really true. People want to be told what to believe. The religions and denominations that are flourishing today are those where the leaders tell people exactly what to believe with no variance. We want to be told. We don't want to have to think about it. Don't make me think about it. Let me go back to sleep. Just tell me what to believe and I'll embrace it and die for it. And so our programmers have been very successful in accomplishing this in us. And then we become the programmers, right? And we're also programmed in the way in which we think about ourselves. From our childhood, we have been told things about ourselves that may not have been true. Well, probably, if it's negative, it probably wasn't true. But they have become self-fulfilling prophecies. We've been told, some of us, that we were stupid, incompetent, fat, ugly, or unwanted, or just not good enough. And so they've heaped guilt and shame on us. We've been pushed down and pushed aside. Friendship has been withheld from us. Love and acceptance has been denied us. And we've accepted this programming. To some extent or other, we've accepted it. We feel bad about ourselves because we felt bad growing up the way we were treated. And some people this has turned them into angry, insecure adults who spend all their lives either trying to earn the approval of others or lashing out at them. Some people try to prove that they are everybody else's equal or better. And some have rebelled against all of this and become outlaws or oppressors of others themselves. And we continue to live in a daze. Or perhaps we were raised in families where we were given encouragement to be ourselves, loved for who we are, accepted even in all of our faults. And we've turned out to be fairly well-balanced, caring, successful individuals, giving our lives to help others be successful. But friends, we can choose now what we're going to be. However we were raised, we are adults now, and we have the options to decide on who we want to be. And by examining ourselves and searching for the truth, peeling back our layers, looking for truth in us, we have the power within us to challenge our programming if we dare to do it. We're capable of scraping away all of those layers of lies that we have been led to believe, or that we've told ourselves, and scrape away all of that and look down into the heart of pure truth and unconditional love. The challenge is for us to wake up to who we are, wake up to truth. For God's sake, just to wake up. Because until we wake up, We will continue to live in a daze of foggy purpose. We will continue to experience the pain and suffering that our programming has brought us to. Until we understand and accept that we are the beloved children of God, forgiven, understood, and loved, we will forever be wanderers through a maze of pain heaped upon us through our programming. But rather just to get you to think, to challenge your personal reality, to challenge you to be excited about searching for the truth of yourself and the truth around you, to compare what you believe to be reality to raw truth, to give yourself permission to morphosize into a state of wakefulness that brings peace and happiness, to experience the things that you were created to experience. And as you do, may God be with you.